Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our audience here. Today, we've got Eugene Mandel, who's the head of AI for Loris.ai. Eugene, thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for inviting me, Amit.
Okay, perfect. Eugene, as I've previously, we discussed this, as I've already informed you. A lot of our audience are CX leaders, CX managers. So AI right now is quite a hot topic to discuss. So with you, we will try and unravel as much as we can during this short session. So let's begin with yourself. So tell us a bit about yourself. How did you end up in AI in the first place?
Perfect. So I've been doing many startups in both engineering, product management, and data science and AI roles for many years, and different industries, but there was always connecting thread. The connecting thread was how people and machines can collaborate in a particular business environment, and specifically how they can do it around human language, which of course is very much related, very much close to what you do. Like, human language has always been a fascination for me. And actually at Loris, this is second time that I'm doing AI for CX, and I'm having just unbelievable amount of fun with that.
Okay. Okay. So could you tell us a bit about your background as to so if there's somebody aspiring to get into AI, because that's one of the in things right now, careers in AI that we hear about, what would be the advice be? What route should they follow in that case?
So I don't know if my experience is super helpful, because not to date myself, but when I was getting into this, it was some number of years ago,
Yeah.
where AI was in a different kind of in a different point in a life cycle. Like every technology has those life cycles of like up and downs, and valley of despair and all this stuff, right? So I think right now the main thing is that it's much easier to get into this, because the amount of open source and amount of commercial solutions to actually get your hands on the data and start doing something useful it's impossible to compare to what existed, let's say 10 years, or I'm not even speaking about 20 years ago. So one thing that I learned, and by now I consider just an axiom, is that get your hands on the data. Time spent understanding, reading, thinking about particular data set is almost never wasted.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so moving on from this question there, because I know we can go on and on about talking about AI, but a lot of our audience are CX leaders or CX managers or people who are working in CX, CS as such. So let's talk a bit about Loris AI. Tell us a bit about what Loris AI does and who would find it useful.
So what Loris does is conversational quality for CX. Conversational quality is something, if you take two existing product categories, conversational analytics and quality assurance, QA, and then you marry them together, that's when you're getting conversational quality. Those two product categories, they were kind of destined to be together, because if you think about it, in both cases, you ask the same questions. At every point of every conversation, what is the best thing to say? And, well, second one, do the agents say that best thing? Say/do. And then how can I help my agents do it? So the transition between analytics and QA is very smooth. And what is unique about it is that the developments in natural language AI started allowing things that were simply unimaginable before. The analogy that I always use is so just like boxing, fencing, tango, anything else, right? It's like those activities where it looks beautiful, and you can, but if you ask an expert to explain what's going on, they can always say that this is a sequence of well-defined moves. Every move I can name, I can describe, I can evaluate. Does a sequence make sense? Let's say in boxing, when somebody is trying to right hook you, well, what is the appropriate response? I have no idea, but not a boxing person, but still. So what Loris does is applying the same thinking to conversations in customer support, because what's beautiful about customer support conversations, they're not unique snowflakes. Almost every conversation that you can take from a particular company probably happened before. So identifying those moves, the equivalence of right hook, but for a customer support conversation, let's say agent apologizing, customer explaining the issue, customer is asking to talk to a supervisor. And so identifying those moves, auto tagging them, and applying analytics to them. And that suddenly starts helping both analytics and QA. Because with where QA is going today, it's much more automation and raising the bar from, like, right now, any QA department in the CX organization probably looks at 2% of conversations. If you are very efficient, maybe 5, no more than that. Imagine applying this to all your conversations, but being very conscious that automation does not have to be full. It's always humans and machines interacting, and a good product distributes the work in a smart way. What tasks are more appropriate for humans and what tasks are more appropriate for machines?
No, excellent. The other question that comes around from when we mention AI and when we mention customer services, do agents or do companies or do managers have to implement any special training programs for their agents to be able to use this efficiently? Or is it one of those things where it is intuitive and you can pick it up as you go along? Because for a lot of managers who are looking for a change or who are looking to introduce a change in their processes, that is one of the biggest concerns, is how long the training will be, and what about the new employees that join? Is it going to be difficult for them?
So as a product manager, I think I would say that, well, a good product does not require a long manual. A long product does not require 2 months of implementation. A good product does not require special training. It is a high bar, but this is true. Like, when you evaluate products that bring AI to CX and customer support, I think this is one of the things to look at. And when it comes to agents, it's very important that they don't have to switch in their skills, at least for now. So let's say what we do, like QA and analytics, the primary user is not the agent, but kind of CX manager or QA manager. The agents are brought in for coaching sessions, right? So let's say after you analyzed performance of a particular agent, like last week, right, you identified coaching moments, and then you having this one-on-one session where you look at Loris with, okay, well, here, like, look, here you should have said this, and let's see how the customer reacted here. So kind of real insights, right? But the agent doesn't have to switch to a different set of skills. I want to emphasize that this is the answer that is correct for now. Because if we talk about what I believe customer support organization will look like in, let's say, 5 to 6 years, my answer is actually very different.
Okay. So since you've mentioned it, and this is one of the things that I was going to ask you, what would a CS organization look like in 5 to 6 years?
So I have to, of course, to prepend a disclaimer. This is highly speculative, right? And I have pretty strong opinion on this, but this strong opinion is based not on nothing, right? It's like, well, I know the industry, I talk to a lot of people, I understand what technology can do, and trying to understand what it cannot do. So I think in 5 to 6 years, what you will see is very much blending of human and machine. What does it mean? So let's say today, a conversation that comes into your call center, whether it's chat, email, or voice call, you put it either it's automation / self-service / chatbot, or it's going to a human agent, to a live agent. I think this pattern will break. Instead, even given one conversation, some parts are easier, some parts are more difficult. So imagine, the picture that I have in my mind is that you know how, like, imagine people that managing a nuclear power station, sitting in front of giant monitors, looking at a lot of data and a lot of numbers. So the work of an agent will be like that. So all conversations will start with automation and self-service, but the agents will be more kind of like AI supervisors that will be what they will be sometimes alerted that, look, this conversation is getting off the rails, either because it's more complicated than the machine can handle, or because of the emotional load. Some things just are not appropriate for machines, right? And the agents would be able to first jump into parts of conversations when needed and train the machine to do reliably parts that are somewhat more scriptable and on the rails. Now, if this is true, so what does it mean? So first of all, well, workforce itself, right? So will there be fewer agents in an organization handling the same load? I think yes. Will they have the same skills? I think not, because in this case, agents become, they're both, well, today good agents are experts in professional communication, how to de-escalate, how to be clear, how to understand what people say, how to ask questions, right? This skill is extremely valuable and it will remain extremely valuable. But now they will have to be able to be more of an analysts and trainers. They won't have to be engineers or data scientists, but the level of their subject matter expertise will have to go up.
Mhm. I think what you say, we at Lingpad also concur with that, which is AI is not there to take over the world. At the end of the day, AI will be a tool that will be assisting a human, and it'll be a human who would be in charge of intervening if it sees or it spots AI going, in a direction where you don't want it to go. So I think we are strong believers in that as well. And the product that we have as well is exactly modeled around the same lines, which is AI does the work, but the human has got the final say. So if as a human agent, you think the translation or something that doesn't fit what you wanted to do, then you can intervene and you can interject and you can change and train, as you said, train the AI there. So that's something that we've adopted already, but it's glad to know that, someone like an expert like yours who also kind of thinks this along the same lines. Okay, so we've discussed, we've spoken about the CX, the CS structure, what you see in 5 to 6 years time and how the organization would look like. But let me bring you back to what it is right now. Which person or what sort of a situation would a person find themselves in where Loris AI will be helpful for them? So I'm talking about managers, I'm talking about a CX leader. What sort of a situation would they be in right now where, they are thinking of ideas or how to resolve a problem whereby Loris AI fits in properly?
So there are a couple of use cases. Like one, the most obvious one is a CX leader that has a QA department and they have a problem. And the problems that usually are brought up in QA departments are, well, we only have visibility into 2, 3, 4% of our conversations. So we have no idea what's hiding in the other 90+%. Because of that, first, we don't know what we don't know. When we give agents not great grades, their first comeback is, well, like, look, you picked one conversation out of 100 that I had, and you just fell on an unfortunate one. And it's very difficult to produce any kind of insights. So the pitch for a CX leader that's thinking about that is that now you can get visibility into all of your conversations. You can be more fair to your agents. You can produce insights and you can do more with the same number of people in QA that you have. So for example, instead of hiring more QA analysts, you can do with whoever you have, right? Because some of the, first of all, the workflow UI for QA is much better than what you can find now. And we also bring some automated QA as well, specifically. So for example, any scorecard that QA people use usually has three sections. Usually, right? One is communication skills of agents that have nothing to do with specific knowledge and specific policy of the company. Second one is exactly this specific knowledge, specific product knowledge and policy. And the third part is process verification. Things that are not found in the language itself, but if the agent promised, I will give you a refund, go to the billing system and see that they issue the refund within 24 hours in the correct amount to the correct user. So what we understand is that the first part, the effective communication, it's not really custom. What we are doing is we defining line items, the questions that test the how good an agent is as a professional communicator in support. And then we're teaching our AI how to understand it. So let's say like we are about most likely this month, we're actually coming up with this kind of first auto QA that we call effective communication scorecard. In the beginning, it will focus on the beginning of a conversation, right? So I line out questions that everybody asks. Okay, did the agent introduce themselves? Did the agent refer to the customer by name? Did the agent display willingness to help and enthusiasm? Did the agent apologize for customer issue, but only if appropriate?
Okay.
Right. So, okay. And then from there, we will keep growing this. So that's for QA. Also, for CX leaders, what's very important in the product is getting actionable insights. The emphasis is on actionable, right? Because if you understand what drives contact, you have several levers, right? So if you understand that there are a lot of people that complain because they cannot complete some action in your product, if you have this concrete story, right? As a CX leader, you can create a new script or policy to follow. You can train your agents to follow it. And you can also reach out to your partners outside of CX and see if you can kill this issue altogether. Like if people are, well, imagine that you cannot change password in the product, right? And customers are asking you to change password for them. Go to a product manager and say, well, if you only implement this feature, 17% of our support volume will go away. Perfect, right? So analytics that can give you those actionable insights, that's the second use case for CX leader.
There's also one more thing that I just realized when you were talking about this is consistency of analysis or quality analysis. So if I'm a quality leader or I'm a quality manager, or if I'm a quality agent as well, or whatever the title is, where I'm assessing quality, don't you think sometimes my personal bias or there could be some sort of inconsistency that might creep in when I'm analyzing quality of agents? Whereas with something like a Loris.ai, that is completely consistent all across, irrespective of how many agents you have.
Absolutely, especially QA analysts that have to do this like conversation reviews for several hours a day. It's a job that actually is very like psychologically taxing. And just like there was a study that judges just before lunch tend to give harsher sentences, probably because they're like they're hungry, they want ready to go, and they kind of just feel more edgy. With QA analysts, probably there is something like that. After you've done it for 3 or 4 hours a day, I'm not sure if your next judgment will be completely consistent and and kind enough to the agent.
Yeah. And also sometimes if an agent builds a reputation to be good, you sometimes tend to overlook that agent and focus more on someone who has a reputation of not being good. So maybe in that process, you might miss out on something that really needs your attention. So I think something like AI would be a great leveler. You could be so fair and probably pick up a lot of things there.
That's true. But of course, with all the right asterisks that it's always human-machine collaboration. So it's not AI just kind of going on its own, right? It's like it's reviewed by people. It's actually, when you build AI-based feature, it's very important to assume that sometimes the judgments will be wrong and build it into the product, the ability for people to say, no, I disagree with that. That would first of all reverse particular judgment and will affect the judgment that the machine will make next time.
Okay. So in a nutshell, what we discussed there was that companies with a lot of volume and less manpower, in terms in the quality department, would be the organizations that would benefit from Loris AI. And also companies that are actually looking to actively recruit in their quality departments. We're just telling them, hang on, just have a look at Loris AI first before you go ahead with the recruitment there, because maybe you can use the existing team to sort through and go through and quality check all the tickets and all the conversations that you have.
Yes, and maybe just one more thing. So
Yeah.
we are very much on the side of CX departments. Like they're our favorite people. And usually, like if you are a CX leader, relatively to other execs in the company, you somehow might feel like you're not the most important. Like you're less important than CFO, CTO, CEO, right? And it's it's actually unfair because you are in charge of one of the most critical activities in any company, like being on the front line with your actual customers, right? So Loris can be your, secret weapon to a degree, right? Where you can become a source of knowledge to other execs that they would not find anywhere else. Like being able to produce those actionable insights, like what drives contact. And those insights would affect product roadmap, financial policies, and everything else. It actually can help you elevate your it might make it more visible what you actually represent and your actual value to your company.
Okay. Just talking about challenges, right? So when I say challenges, I'm talking about implementation challenges. Let's say if somebody decides that they want to go down the AI route for quality assessment or quality analysis, what would be the challenges that they might find? And, can you educate them a bit more about, it's not about just going and picking a product. What are the things that they should be concerned about? What are the things that they should analyze? What are the things that they should think about before they go and pick any product?
So, first of all, I really feel the pain of people that are on the buyer side right now with this category of products, because on one hand, what AI allows to do is amazing, but the flip side of this coin is that number of choices is daunting. And a lot of what companies say might even sound similar. But so I would, first of all, be aware that what companies say they do has to be taken with some, pinch of salt, obviously, right? Not because people intentionally trying to mislead you, but people are in love with their solutions, right? It's normal. We are like product people, engineers. We are like that, right? So driving as soon as possible to actual demo, and if possible to demo on your data, is a very good way to de-risk it. The second thing to look for is overpromising. So whenever you hear that AI will solve everything, let's say in QA case, once we implement it, you don't need QA analysts. It's just we will look at 100% of conversations, 100% of line items done. When you hear the extreme version of this, it's a red, it's like red flashing light, I think. And being very much aware of the implementation costs, because this is where products might actually vary wildly.
Okay.
And trying to get all of this information during the sales process, it's actually something that you as a buyer should really plan to do.
Okay. Okay. No, thank you. Thank you for the advice, because that's so true. I mean, sometimes when you don't know a lot about the product or not know a lot about the field, you try to get overwhelmed, or you might get overwhelmed by all the information that's coming your way. And maybe there is some jargon that you hear that you think is good, but it might not be that great. So again, it's again the same policy that we follow as well, which is to make it so simple. We break it down, it's in layman's terms so everybody can understand, rather than using really complicated jargon and make it sound too good. It is actually what it is, and that's how we describe our products as well. So I'm sure you guys do the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming back to Loris.ai now. I was on your website before we started the call, and there was this thing that kind of caught my eye, which was the agent Copilot. I seen something regarding an agent Copilot. To me, could you just educate our audience a bit more about that? Because to me, that was one of the most interesting features that I saw there. But I'll let you talk about that.
Yes, I kind of talked more about analytics and QA, but this is an aspect of our product as well. So Agent Copilot is, it's not a chatbot, but it's an assistive technology for an agent, right? So this is actually that's actually where Loris began.
Okay.
So when an agent is chatting or emailing, right, it's a browser extension that watches what customer says, what the agent says, assesses the sentiment and the intent of the customer, and just suggests what to say to the agent. Now, the agent can accept it, they can accept it partially and edit it, or they can completely reject it. But this removes some of the mental load from the agent and allows them to operate faster. Now, Copilot is a very, like, we started doing this, I think, more than two to 3 years ago. And lately, there is an explosion in this kind of Copilot assistive technologies, primarily thanks to generative AI.
Right. So is this something that helps the agent be a bit more proactive when they are responding to customers, and rather than, because there can be situations where they think what would be the right way to address a conversation or something that they think might be right, and they are in two minds whether is this the right way to approach it. And that's where you get this AI Copilot which comes up and says, okay, this is what we recommend. And then once you think, oh, I was thinking the same, it's more like an assurance that you're going in the right direction with the conversation there.
Exactly. It's removing some mental load, giving you a bit more confidence, right? Because the best thing that you could think when you see a suggestion, oh, I would have said that. Great, you would have said that, but now you're saying that faster and you are more confident that this is the right thing. Okay. And again, this is like an entire pattern with generative AI-based technologies, right? Because, well, like, you see so many products where you write something, right? And generative AI drafts something for you, drafts an email, drafts a blog post or something, right? Like an ad. And then you can approve, you can edit it. So AI, in this case, plays the role of a kind of an assistant, intern, kind of assistant to intern, right? Where it's your content. You have to decide if it's right, but it prepares it for you so that it just makes it easier for you to do it.
Okay, perfect. The other thing is, why is it you think that some people are really wary of AI? They are not trusting of the technology, and they think about all the doomsday scenarios that we see in Hollywood films. This is what AI will do to you. It's like the Skynet scenario where the machines will take over and there'll be no humans left. Why is there still so much fear when it comes to, someone mentions AI with certain people there?
Well, because AI is one of those very unique areas where the reality and the sci-fi meet. Okay. And what's in every person's head is it's difficult to know. Sometimes your ideas from the actual machine learning and like data science, or from from Isaac Asimov and the robot laws, right? So well, but with this, I have to say that some fears are legitimate, right? So I deal with language AI. So what language AI can do in the worst case scenario to misinformation, disinformation, social media is actually, I wouldn't be afraid, but I would be legitimately concerned.
Okay. So it is not to be completely afraid of the technology, but it is to take it, embrace it. And one of the things is that you're always in control as a human of it. So it's not that it's going to take over everything that you're doing there.
Oh, Exactly. So a good, and yeah, I'm coming back to this idea of a good product. A good AI product is one that has to not remove the steering wheel from you. So it's almost like the analogy is it's a self-driving car, but the steering wheel is still there, and you can, one touch on the steering wheel allows you to, well, you know what's going on, you can take over, right? Because well, several years ago there was this story of a Microsoft chatbot, right, that was trained on old Twitter data corpus, and then started spewing all kind of like racist, sexist, the crazy stuff.
Yeah,
Right. So of course, if you imagine a product that just says, okay, well, we'll just deploy a chatbot and we'll take over your communications, go. Well, that would be a very unfortunate way to deploy AI in CX.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, I agree with you on that. Okay, I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the conversation on AI. I know we could have gone on for hours and hours and hours discussing this, but it's just a
Yes.
snapshot of what it is. So, guys, Loris AI, if you guys want to use for quality analysis or quality or QA in your teams, please give them a shout. I'm sure you'll be able to get a good solution from them. Just before we leave, though, Eugene, I've got this little section at the end that we always do with our audience, with our speakers, which is would you rather? Okay, so I'm going to ask you 5 would you rather questions that I've not shared with you. And again, it's just something really for lighthearted fun. Please don't worry too much about the answers, but you probably get about 10 seconds to answer each question. Okay, so not a lot of thinking time. Okay, so
Okay.
when you're ready, I'll ask you the first question. Okay. So my first question to you is, would you rather walk to work in heels or drive to work in reverse?
Drive in reverse.
Okay.
It's a
So,
challenge, and yeah, totally.
okay. The other one, and talking about apocalypses, would you rather be in a zombie apocalypse or a robotic apocalypse?
I think I would probably know more how to deal with robots, so let's go for robotic apocalypse.
I think with all the movies that I've watched, I'd probably go with the zombies because I know how to kill the zombies watching so many movies and cartoons. But robots is quite new, so okay. All right, and the third one. Now, would you rather spend a year entirely alone or a year without a home?
Without a home, we need people. It's
You
yeah.
Okay, good. I mean, I'll probably go for that as well. Yes, I'd rather be with people and not at home, rather than just being on the planet all by myself. Okay. The fourth question is the second last one. Would you rather have super sensitive taste buds or super sensitive hearing?
Taste buds for sure. I love eating. I love cooking. If I had superpower in this, I would take it.
Okay. And the last question is, would you rather spend the weekend with pirates or a weekend with ninjas?
Pirates. When I was a kid, I loved pirate movies, pirate books. So, of course, pirates, just like, it's one of those things that the reality of pirates is probably way darker than the books.
Okay. No, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Eugene. It was lovely having a chat with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I mean, that it has been fun. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching this video in our podcast series. Please do let us know in the comments whether you like the video or if you have any suggestions. We have an amazing list of guests lined up for you in the coming few weeks. Please do like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you and see you soon. Bye-bye.